Let's see how you get on.
Let's get the first one over with, the Coriolis effect.
Oh, this'll be epic.
You want to throw a ball to your friend in the middle of North America. If you throw that ball in a straight line, it'll appear to land to the right of your friend because he's moving slower and is not caught up to you.
You and your reference frames have been ruined, and your reference frames have been ruined, and your reference frames have been ruined and ruined and ruined. Good old Nathan Oakley.
You can disprove them every single time.
Really? Well, we'll see if this smirk gets wiped off your face, love. Let's see how you get on.
Let's get the first one over with, the Coriolis effect.
Oh, this'll be epic. The chances of this bimbo understanding the Coriolis effect are 0. I give her a 1 in 1,000 chance of detailing this correctly and juxtaposing it with an Earth that doesn't turn underneath aircraft. We'll see how she gets on.
You say, oh, here we go. Well, she said the Coriolis effect. At least she said effect.
Well, it is your favourite.
No, it's not my favourite. It's my least favourite. I just happen to understand it.
The key to the Coriolis effect lies in the Earth's
Okay, thank you, Neil.
rotation. Specifically, the Earth...
Sorry, the key to the Coriolis effect is Earth's rotation. Wrong immediately! No, Coriolis effect has absolutely nothing to do with Earth's rotation. Coriolis effect is the description of a non-inertial turning reference frame turning beneath an inertial reference frame to create the illusion of drift as you turn beneath. Nothing to do with Earth. Absolutely wrong immediately. So you 1 in 1,000 chance blown immediately. Oh, you just think you can throw out some big words, do you, bimbo, like Coriolis effect? Yeah, it'd be helpful if you knew what it was. It does not specifically reference Earth, so the key to it is an Earth. If I describe a roundabout and tossing a ball over the top of it, do you think the key to understanding that not actual drift of the ball as you rotate beneath it as Earth? That's not the key to Coriolis, bimbo. You are a bonehead. Don't pretend to be smart when you talk about flat earthers. Or you think you're picking away at low-hanging fruit, do you, love? Wrong. This came out 1 day ago, so I am in no doubt that you are Googling your little fingers off to find responses. So you'll find this, won't you, love? You'll find the disdain in someone far smarter than you's voice when they tell you the key to Coriolis is not Earth.
rotates faster at the equator.
Say the Coriolis effect is not globe Earth dependent. It's an effect, an optical illusion. It doesn't require Earth to be rotating for us to observe it.
Well, furthermore, Brian, the effect is not exhibited on Earth. We don't see Coriolis effect on Earth. To the point when we point out that you don't see the effect on screen with Dan hanging out in a helicopter, he, SciManDan, would completely disagree with you, bimbo. He told me specifically and personally.
Good old Nathan Oakley over at Nathan Oakley 1980. All off the back of a tweet that I sent him. You and your reference frames have been ruined, and your reference frames have been ruined, and your reference frames have been ruined and ruined and ruined. Good old Nathan Oakley.
That that would be globe Earth, reference frames, that would be globe Earth, are ruined.
And ruined and ruined.
By showing us how there is no drift. Right, Dan?
Good old Nathan Oakley.
Maybe you, Dan, who's top of the tree in this bonehead arena of anti-flat Earth, maybe you can get in touch with this blonde number and tell her, no, love, no, we definitely don't see any drift on Earth, so saying the key to Coriolis is drift on Earth. No, definitely not, we don't see any. Those reference frames you'd need have been ruined.
And ruined and ruined. Good old Nathan Oakley.
According to SciManDan, to describe reference frames being ruined would undo the claim that Earth has this effect. Non-inertial turning reference frame with the illusion of a ball drifting because you're turning underneath it. That's not got anything to do with Earth. There's no key to that being Earth, love. Meanwhile, Earth doesn't exhibit this effect.
Than it does at the poles. So the Earth is wider.
There's not something we observe involving the Earth. It happens on Earth, but not involving the Earth.
Well, let's just go through that, as we've got the 2 reference frames on screen with Dan the complete idiot. When the top of the tree anti-flat Earth is getting humiliated by little old me over his lack of understanding of how Earth is supposed to have 2 reference frames that he says are ruined.
And ruined and ruined.
I'll explain them to you. Not Dan, not any globe Earth rhetoric, because it doesn't involve Earth. This Earth that you think turns doesn't exhibit the effect. What is the effect? Well, let's explain it to you. Here we have a rotating, non-inertial reference frame, a roundabout. And this is going to turn underneath a ball that is travelling straight. To recap, platform turns, ball travels straight. As you observe, the ball which is travelling straight sat on the rotating frame of reference, that would be you as the red dot, moving with the rotating non-inertial turning reference frame. Your view of the ball, which in reality travels straight, is the illusion of it curving. This illusion is called the Coriolis effect. I hope we're all clear that the key is not Earth. Are you clear, love? Are you clear with that? Why is it that you've got millions of subscribers when you're completely and utterly wrong and I'm shoved to the ends of the lists? In fact, I don't even make it on the list anymore if you type my name in.
At our equator. So that makes one rotation.
Say again, Brian?
She has beliefs. That's why she has millions of followers.
Of course. She supports the world suppression narrative of keeping people with beliefs. So she's going to tell us what she believes Coriolis is and tell us all about a globe Earth. Sorry, love, until you mention non-inertial and inertial reference frames, nothing you say has any value.
In one 24-hour period. The equatorial
This is all just your rhetoric and your belief.
Regions race at nearly 1,600 kilometers per hour, or 1,000 miles an hour. Near the poles, the Earth rotates at a sluggish 0.00008 kilometers.
These are all baseless assertions, love. Do you know what a baseless assertion is? You're not backing this with anything.
Or 0.00005 miles per hour.
Fascinating. Meanwhile, you've not backed that fact that you've claimed with anything. It is a baseless assertion.
All right, let's pretend you're standing.
She is going to be tied to those statements that she's just made.
Damn straight she is.
We don't observe these apparent drifts because the Earth's not moving.
She's just made the statement that it is. It's very interesting you pick the poles to describe this. It's the opposite of Matthew Learns, isn't it? He chose to describe the equator in terms of degrees, didn't he? So it sounded small instead of miles per hour. Now she's gone away from the point where the rim speed will be fast and pick the poles in her description of Coriolis. Is this just to show why we don't experience the thing that's definitely happening?
Well, let's find out.
You want to throw a ball to your friend in the middle of North America. If you throw that ball in a straight line, it'll appear to land to the right of your friend because he's moving slower and is not caught up to you.
What? No
What the hell
way.
did she just say?
She's describing the deviation of a ball tossed across continents because Earth turns underneath the ball. So if that ball was an aeroplane traveling west, it would have its flight time significantly reduced by this effect then, wouldn't it? Because Earth would turn underneath the aeroplane like you just described it turning underneath the ball. The flight times would be reduced. A drone would drift away from you the moment it hovered in the air. You and the Earth that turned underneath the drone would make it appear that the drone would whiz away at 1,000 miles an hour on the equator. I mean, it wouldn't really be drifting. It would be the Coriolis effect. You turning underneath and the apparent motion of the drone as it disappears away from you 1,000 miles an hour. Not because it moves 1,000 miles an hour. Drones can't fly that fast. But the Earth would be turning underneath it at that rate. And we would notice, wouldn't we? Like you've described in your example, with a ball being deflected because Earth turns underneath. So Earth turns underneath drones, helicopters, hot air balloons, aeroplanes, you, if you jump up and down. That doesn't happen, love. Ever. We do not have this effect. Excellent choice by Paul. I'm going to give credit to the person who provided this video, because seldom do we find that the claimant in the video makes the claim that Earth is turning underneath the ball in line with Coriolis? No. What we normally get is SciManDan telling us,
you and your reference frames have been ruined.
no drift. Reference frames ruined.
Reference frames have been ruined.
But you're in line with the claim that Earth turns underneath aeroplanes, are you, love? No. You see, if that was the case, and Earth turned underneath the ball of this smiling man, then we could take the Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles flight at 4.5 hours, with Earth turning underneath it, to approximately 1.5 hours because Earth's turning underneath it. That doesn't happen. No one travelling from Charlotte to Los Angeles gets an 1.5-hour flight time because Earth turned underneath the flight. I mean, if that did happen, you looking up at that flight and going, check it out, that flight, it looks like it's drifting. And the guy next to you would say, no, it's not really drifting. We are turning underneath the aeroplane, shortening its flight time massively. Yeah, this effect does not happen, love.
This force leads.
Why did she said 2 continents, and a person on one continent throwing a ball to a person on another continent?
What she's saying is that you're standing 10 feet away from me and you're north, right, directly north, and I'm directly south of you in, I don't know, any part of America, and I throw the ball to you, that when I throw the ball, there will be a deviation, right? An apparent deviation because we are both rotating underneath the ball. This is what she's actually said.
The claim is simple. She's claiming that if you throw a ball, the Earth rotates underneath. It goes into a second reference frame, and the Earth rotates underneath. Right? That's her claim. She's just made it. She's just exemplified it by saying you got two people. That's her claim. The Earth turns underneath.
Just one correction, though, for Brian. She didn't use the word apparent. And just as Neil interrupted, she used the word force without the word apparent.
This force leads to.
So my estimation is she, again, is cobbling her way through what it says on Wiki about Coriolis effect under the heading Coriolis force, and is therefore describing what she thinks is a force. Because as yet, she has not detailed this as an apparent deviation. She has said the ball will deflect. Now she's about to go on to say about what this force is. So I don't think she understands. Well, I know she doesn't. She doesn't understand what Coriolis effect is. That's the illusion of drift where none really occurs. Let's bring SciManDan and his ruined reference frames up again.
Ruined. Good old Nathan Oakley.
Ball goes straight, but looks like it curves because you're sat on a rotating reference frame. So there is no force bending the ball. It's moving straight. It only looks like it. She ain't describing it that way, though, is she, Adam? Not yet. But Brian made it seem like she was when he said apparent. No, she hasn't said that.
No, that's the contradiction, though, isn't it? She's invoked force, even though she's described what in her heliocentric model is happening correctly. You throw the ball, and the Earth, because it's rotating, turns underneath. That belief is correct, but then she's gone on to invoke a force. So we'll see why.
I mean, she's been on a plane. Did you get the flight times massively reduced when you travelled west, love? When you were worrying about seeing Earth curve no one else can see through an aeroplane window that we've debunked in 2020, the horizon isn't Earth curve and isn't geometrically usable for any principle that it is practically applied with. That would be establishing horizontal, not bend. But meanwhile, while you were daydreaming out the window about things you can't really see, yeah, were you finding that your flight time was shortened because Earth turned underneath the plane? No?
To your friend in the middle of North America. If you throw that ball in a straight line, it'll appear to land to the right of your friend because he's moving
She did say appear.
slower.
Take it back, love. Take it back.
And is not caught up to you. This force leads to cyclones swirling clockwise in the southern hemisphere and counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere.
No. You see, it makes it worse with that following statement when you say apparent. You see, the ball travels straight. Let's bring SciManDan, the complete bonehead, on screen again.
Good old Nathan Oakley.
The ball moves straight. And seems, you said apparent. Now, one would estimate that you understood what that word meant when you used it. But then when you use the word apparent, that would be seeming to curve, but not really curving. That's moving straight. You then went on to say how that force move cyclones. Now that would be apparent drift of the cyclone. No, they're actually turning, love. Seems you don't know the difference between apparent, that's not actual drift. This ball isn't really curving. That's apparent deviation. It looks like it. You see it drifting and curving, but in reality, it isn't. Not actual drift isn't the force of cyclones. What is it about blondes? You're just thick. You're just too stupid to realise what apparent actually means. Oh, it's my bad. She likes using these big, clever words, doesn't she? Seemed really big and smart and intelligent when you said apparent. Only to go on to describe actual rotation. Oh, my God. Don't use words you don't understand, love. You're just going to humiliate yourself.
Unless she actually thinks that the claimed turn of a hurricane is only apparent because she's rotating underneath.
Phrase that as a question.
Do you actually think that the claimed rotation of a hurricane is only an apparent thing? That it's not claimed to actually rotate?
Let me paraphrase that. Do you think hurricanes are actually travelling in a straight line and only apparently deviating because of Earth turning underneath? Is that what you think, love? Is that's what your big words made it seem like you think? Very stupid, though. No wonder we need censorship. No wonder we need shoving to the bottom of the lists. No wonder very few people actually respond to us with a link to Nathan Oakley's video when we send people their way to let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice little comment that lets them know a day after they've made their video that we have actually responded to them. And we hope and pray that these people would actually put a link to our video when they thank us for explaining that, yeah, actual spin directions of hurricanes and whirlwinds, they're actual. As opposed to the word that you used, big though it wasn't, 2 seconds earlier, that would be apparent. You think these spin directions are illusions, love? It's obvious that you don't understand what Coriolis effect is. But you'll be promoted for it because you prop up the beliefs of others in a sphere Earth you made the claim of by baseless assertion.
Though the direction of wind, it also impacts ocean currents.
Sorry, are ocean currents apparent now also, love? You about to tell us about those apparent ocean current directions?
So, long-range military snipers even have to make an allowance for deflection caused by the Coriolis effect.
So, sniper shoots the bullet in a straight line, and according to the Globe Earth claim, Earth turns underneath the bullet. An apparent deflection that they would account for. So if Earth turns underneath sniper fire, then Earth turns underneath aeroplanes and helicopters and hot air balloons. And a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would only take an hour and a half. That doesn't happen, love. This is absurd. Earth isn't turning underneath anything. Just as SciManDan. He'll infer that they're my reference frames that are ruined when he shows there is no drift.
Good old Nathan Oakley over at Nathan Oakley 1980. All off the back of a tweet that I sent him. You and your reference frames have been ruined. And your reference frames have been ruined. And your reference frames have been ruined. Good old Nathan Oakley.
They're not. They're Globe Earth reference frames that are ruined when we point out this effect doesn't happen. But you're under the deluded blonde misapprehension that it does turn underneath gunfire, shortening flight times massively. We'd notice.
And if the Earth was one big flat pancake, the Coriolis effect just wouldn't even exist.
Really? So when Wikipedia shows the example of Coriolis effect quite specifically with a big fat flat pancake, you're so blonde and dumb that you don't realise that that is specifically how it's described with a rotating reference frame on a flat pancake. That's what it is in the wiki gif that shows it you happening. But you're telling me it won't work on a flat pancake? My God, you're stupid. My God, you are unbelievably thick. Did you think you were using big smart words there, love? Did you think this was clever? Yeah, just go to Wikipedia and type in Coriolis force. Look on the right-hand side and you'll see this. 2 pancakes. So what's that you say? It's not possible on a pancake. Why do Wiki do pancake gifs with it then? Are you insane or just incredibly stupid? Using some big smart words to make yourself feel better about your globe earth belief while you delude millions with your blonde stupidity. That's what you're doing.
Remember her first definition. She didn't define Coriolis. The prerequisite for Coriolis was a ball spinning in space. That's what Coriolis is. Yeah, that's how a level of research. The first thing that defined it was what you needed a ball Earth, didn't you? Not what the definition of Coriolis is.
Yeah, she hasn't got the slightest idea what Coriolis really is, because she's just literally alluded to it's not possible in the most simplistic form, which is describe it with a 2-dimensional rotating circular platform. I mean, you could call that a pancake if you're a blonde. Non-inertial turning reference frame, most simplistically described with a circular disc. What the bloody hell are you babbling on about? Why does YouTube promote this misinformation? Why has this been put out to 12 million people? It's misinformation. It's wrong. She is fundamentally stupid. Why is this promoted? Why are we suppressed when we correct idiots on what Coriolis is? And she goes around telling you that the key is globe Earth. No, it bloody isn't. Utterly stupid on every single level. I can't even find my own live stream because I don't appear when I search my own name. I've got a live stream running right now and I can't even find myself to clip this as a thumbnail. Yeah. So why am I suppressed? Well, this twat gets promoted out the wazoo by YouTube to tell people that you can't describe non-inertial reference frames with a disc akin to a pancake. Yeah, you can.